to do what we need to do. Sometimes we can go through our rituals and go through our stuff without, remembering the basics and what we might need to do. But because the intuition's real. I often I do tell people, trust your intuition. What is it that your intuition says you need to do? And follow it. 100% follow it. Because intuition is going to guide you so much. Your subconscious will help guide you on your path and help you focus on what you need to accomplish. But you do need to do your studying, you do need to do your research, and sometimes we got to go back to the basics. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're talking about the basics, Paganism 101 again. And if you have comments, I'm checking the chats. I want to pay attention and see what y'all have to say now. And yes, everything's going to be smooth sailing. So we are really off adventuring into the spaces between tonight. And we are broadcast live, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And on YouTube, because I figured it out. Yeah, operator error. Because, why not? It can't be a Friday night if we don't have some sort of tech issue, right? So the phone line is open. I'll tell you that number in a moment. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, the thumbs up, especially if you really like the show. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to be notified when I'm going live or when I have uploaded something new, make sure you click on the little bell. And, no matter how you are hearing me, make sure you stop in and say hello in the chat rooms, or send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY @gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, please do so. You can go to etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio. That's MTN. And, or you can go to patreon.com/the spaces between. And of course, live tonight, open mic. Give a call if you want. It is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, it's 44203-393-2871. And, check out ialife.com. ialife is the official sponsor for Truth Frequency Radio. And just a really excellent product. Helps boost your immune system using the best non-hallucinogenic part of the ayahuasca plant, and also CBD oil. So it's good stuff. It's an excellent combination. And right now in our world today, we need all the help we can get boosting our immune system. So the struggle is real, folks. It is real. Cashew says, I feel like Paisley is teaching us this class and we don't want to be tardy. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do see we've got a few folks. Nightshade, Daryl, Boy Solomon, C. Graves, Brent. Hey, Brent from Paranormal Portal, and Cookie Jarvis, Bomber, Cashew, Black Tree, hi Julia, Elaine, and then I saw other people in here. Holy cow. Bomber, Aussie, MCAT, and you know what? I'm sure there's other people in there that I've missed. So if I haven't given you a shout out, I do apologize. But you know what? I love you all. You guys tune in every week, and I gotta tell you, it's really awesome that you do so. I appreciate that you're here, and it just gives me the warm fuzzies. And you know what? That's just awesome. Let's see here. So, Paganism 101. Where do you start? Often it feels like, as we grow in our, spiritually in our life, often at birth and through our childhood, we are significantly influenced by our family and what our family's choices are. When it comes to spirituality, often our parents like to take us to church, or they like to, or whatever they practice. We are tagging along with them, and they're introducing us to spirituality. A lot of these different religions have definitions of right and wrong. They've got consequences and such, and for poor behavior, if you don't abide by their rules and restrictions. Some of them are supposedly put out by the deities that they worship, and others are put out by mankind that follows the deities that are worshipped. And there's a lot of variety out there, a lot of variety. And often we go through our childhood and early adulthood still participating within that faith. And it seems to be once we not necessarily rebel, but more experience the world for ourselves, that we come across other ways of finding our spiritual path. And quite often, it is not the same as our parents or grandparents. Sometimes it is, and that's okay. But more and more, it seems like today, we are not willing to just follow along blindly the path that our close family has put out for us, and that includes those who were raised pagan and are now embracing Christianity or some other form of religion. And I poke at Christianity a lot because that's where I come from. And it's not that I think Christianity is the bane of all evils. It's just, or the bane of all existence, I should say. But it's just an easy target for me because that's what I'm familiar with. Now, if someone came from, say, Mormons, which I don't know that Mormons are quite the same as most Christians, or maybe they're Islamic or Jewish, often they're coming from a totally different path. And a lot of times I see in the chat room, guilt, lots of guilt. And yes, oh my gosh, it's like guilt is one of the foundations upon which religion is built, it seems like. And religion is different than spirituality, by the way. Spirituality is one's relationship with the deity that they follow. Religion is the defined path and filled with dogma. Dogma. Because dogma gives the structure to religion. Elaine in the chat room says Catholic guilt. You know what? I'm sure we've all heard the joke. A Jewish mom or mother, a Catholic mother, and a Lutheran mother, and there's one mother. There's like four of them. Basically, they are sitting in a room having coffee, and the lights go out, or the light bulb burns out. What do they do? How do they? Who changes the light bulb? Well, nobody. They just sit there and complain about it and try to guilt each other into doing it. Or they call the Protestant, and the Protestant comes and changes it. But you never know. Because after a while they just get fed up and they do it themselves after guilting anyone. So anyways, poor joke, but at the same time, or a stereotype. Stereotypes often have a foundation in reality. So just know, I don't poke at anyone specifically, but I poke at everybody. And before I go too much further, it looks like I've got a call on the line. So one moment. Hello, caller. This is Paisley Wild. Thank you for calling.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just the listening line is not working, so I'm not familiar with your show, so I'm just discovering your topic.
Okay, no worries. Did you want to just listen in this way? I'll definitely put you back on mute, and if you want to chat or chime in, just wave your hand in the chat room and I'll pay attention, okay?
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Uh-huh.
And thank you. So, yeah. Um, a lot of the different Abrahamic faiths do have religious schools or schools of some sort that they use, daycares and everything, and they do put a lot of our ethics in place and teach us a lot about our ethics, and that's a good thing, because yeah, we do need to we need that ethic, to know the difference between right and wrong and everything, but we don't have to learn that via religion. We can just learn that because the things that hurt us are generally wrong. The things that don't hurt us are generally not wrong. I'm being very broad here. Broad statement. Because there are things that, don't necessarily fit into those boxes. So, anyways, first off, what is paganism? So, yes, paganism. It's kind of an umbrella term, I suppose. It's a collection of individual and distinct spiritual paths and traditions that are not part of the Abrahamic faiths. Because the Abrahamic faiths themselves, especially when Christianity was on the rise, defines pagan as something that, or the practice or the religious practices that were the peasants did, or those out in the country, and so as things grew and the rise of Christianity spread, pagan ended up being applied with a very broad stroke to anybody who's just not practicing Christianity, and now it's not, if you're pagan, it's not a unified religion. It really is still very much several distinct spiritual paths, and they're often polytheistic. I mean, stop and think about it. Even Christianity is polytheistic, even though they say they're not. I mean, anyways, we've gone into this before, but still, seriously, there's God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. There's three gods. Satan technically is a god, and then I think about all those angels, demigods, lesser gods. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Now, Wicca is one of the biggest, probably, pagan traditions currently, and that was. Wicca was founded by Gerald Gardner in the 40s, and there's a bunch of stuff around that we're not going into tonight, but along with the teachings that Gardner had and Wicca, there's quite a few different offshoot traditions. There's a whole variety of different types of Wicca, honestly. And then there's, heathenry, druidry, etc., witchcraft. And then there's a whole bunch of different other, there's Celtic and Hellenic, Roman, Egyptian. Satanism is technically considered pagan, which to me doesn't feel quite right, because Satan is not pagan, he's Christian. So, I don't know. That one kind of checks a few boxes. And anyways, yeah, it's one of those things. So seriously, call in if you want to. No, you should, though, if you have a question or want to chime in. And remember that not all pagans are Wiccan, and not all Wiccans are pagans. Not all Wiccans are witches, and not all witches are Wiccan. I have come across those who call themselves Christian Wiccans. I don't know how it worked, but in their tradition it worked. So I'm giving you the big shoulder shrug, because I don't know. And it was tried to be explained to me, but I just didn't I couldn't absorb it. My brain just went blurp. it's not working, because the two things just didn't go together. But anyways, you may not be a witch if you're pagan or Wiccan, or you may be. I mean, it's not exclusive. And it has a lot to do with your own particular beliefs and your own spiritual path, and and what it is that what it is that you're trying to do. So, oops, wrong button. Nope, different button. Button. Who's got the button? So, some things to know about Wicca in general, because I want to talk about that a little bit more. Yes. So Cashew says, it seems like we talk a lot about the earth, the moon, the sun, rocks, minerals, scents, tangible atmospheric grounding. Yes, we do. And they're very tangible. But at the same time, there's a lot of intangible with the spiritual part. I follow Hecate, and I am called by Cunningham. That's very spiritual to me. That's very individual to me, and the way I observe my spiritual practice. But I also feel and see both Hecate and Cunningham present in my everyday life. So I don't know. It's a little bit more tangible, I suppose. But specifically, going back to Wicca, some basic principles. They have the threefold law, and a lot of people hear about this, and you'll see variations of the threefold law in Hollywood. Hollywood does some fun things with paganism. Cue the eye roll. Because they take a few little things, they blow them out of proportion, they skew them, and yeah, it's an adventure. So, the threefold law. Basically, what you put out there comes back threefold. And so, if it was a positive thing you put out in the world, it's going to come back to you in a positive way. Threefold. If it's pretty negative, it's going to come back threefold. So you just got to be careful with your intent. But different traditions have different interpretations of the threefold law. So again, if you're with a specific tradition, make sure that you do talk to your priest or priestess. And for some guidance, and often they have some training books or training materials to help you. So that's that's kind of a big thing. Let's see. What else is there? Not all pagans are not all. I already said that. Not all witches are pagans or Wiccans. Yes. There is not a specific dress code when it comes to paganism. Basically, come as you are. Hold on. Hey, Bomber. You should email me. Real quick, your contact information, and I may be able to call you. So there, because I can. So yeah, there's no dress code when it comes to paganism. Be as conservative as you want, or as liberal as you want, or as whatever it is you want to be whom you are. I mean, seriously, just be you. Let's see. Religious freedom here in the U.S. applies to pagans as well as to Christianity, in particular because of Wicca, which is pretty cool. It's sweet that we can practice our traditions without being ostracized legally. Because you know what? People want to minimize pagans all over the place. And by golly, they do it all the time. But it's against the law. You can't take them to court for it. Especially, if it's your employer. You can be in the broom closet or not in the broom closet. Seriously, or pagan pantry, whatever you want to call it. So basically, um, as we've noted here, or I've mentioned here on more than one occasion, and I'll talk about it constantly because it's important. You don't have to come out of the broom closet if you're not comfortable doing it. And a lot of people, because they grew up in a different religion, they don't feel comfortable expressing their paganity, or their witchcraft to their family, because they don't feel their family will understand, and that's really unfortunate, really unfortunate, but a truth. So before I go any further, guess what? It's our first break already, which is insane to me because wow, where is the evening going? So we're going to take a break real quick, and we'll be right back.
Lord, within the sun, as we will, so mote it be, the spell forever done.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between because, yeah, it should be fun, right? All right, just to remind you that the call line is open, and that number is 213-233-3998. And if for some reason you can't call in, but you would like to, send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com, and I should be able to call you at least, I think. I think I can. I can try anyways. Or you can always just write down or send me an email containing, what it is you want to talk about. And I can read it on the air. I would love to read it on the air. I want to hear what your specific things that you've encountered. Whether it's past life regression, the things that have happened to you, that just really stood out to you, whether from a spiritual experience or just a weird coinkydink or just, anything. So yeah, just whatever it is that you want to talk about. If you can't call me, send me an email and I'll happily read it to you. So yeah, we were just, before the break, we were talking about the broom closet, and, honestly, there is so many ways that we can practice our spiritual path as pagans, without putting it out there for everybody to see and wallow in it. Because you know what? It's real. I mean, the people who respond to just someone saying, "Oh, I'm a pagan," and they're like, "You worship Satan." All right, well, this is something. Again, pagans aren't necessarily Satanists. It is a thing. Some people follow Satan, but he's technically on the Christian traditions rather than or the Abrahamic faiths rather than paganism. So no, I am a pagan. I don't follow Satan. Do I think he's out there? Yeah, probably. Is he someone I'm interested in getting to know better? No, not at all. He's not someone I talk to. It's not someone I have a connection with. And so, on that note, there's all sorts of things out there, symbology that is associated with deities or elements or anything like that you can have around your home without making it seem like, ooh, I'm pagan. I mean, think about it. How many people have candles in their home? Okay, provided you can, have candles in where you live, because some people can't because of just whatever's going on. So there are LED candles, that kind of thing. But yeah, candles. Everybody has candles. People have flowers. Flowers can be very representative of different deities. Candles, rocks, driftwood, figurines. You don't have to have statuettes or figurines of the different deities. So it varies. Elaine asks, do pagans have a Satan equivalent? So yes, and at the same time, no. And here's why. Many of the different traditions have, or pretty much all of the traditions and spiritual paths have some form of afterlife. And technically that's what Satan is he's part of the afterlife for Christianity. And so with that, many of the different religions or traditions, spiritual paths, have their own afterlife structure. And depending on whom you follow and what you believe, that will impact the afterlife. For instance, for the Norse deities, Hel, Hel, is a very, very real person who rules in the underworld. And for the longest time, Valhalla was part of Hel. or the afterlife. It was actually there in, and now the traditions are a little different. And so Valhalla is separate. And so there is, I don't know, it varies. I don't know, I'm not answering that very, very, very well, am I, Elaine? So basically, Satan is one of the guardians for the afterworld in Christianity. There, in each of the different traditions, there are guardians for the afterworld, and so there is often someone who rules the afterlife absolutely, and puts people wherever it is they need to be, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, or need to be put back out into the universe. So I was Cashew, I think somebody in the chat room was talking about how they've been reincarnated a couple of different times, and it's the reincarnations are real. Sometimes we have to come back and do something that we didn't get accomplished in our previous life, or learn a different lesson, or see a situation from a different viewpoint. So yes, there is an equivalent, but it's not all hellfire and damnation. Often the afterlife is a pleasant place. It's not necessarily horrible. I personally think it's pretty parallel to this one. So, I don't know. Depending on your tradition, Elaine, and what you're looking at, I can give you a more specific answer if you want to send me an email. So, yeah, most pagans are not Satanists. You don't have to join a coven or a circle or a moot or anything like that as a pagan. You can be solitary. There's not a doggone thing wrong with that. You can do study groups if you want. You can meet informally with others, like for coffee or just to get together, because as a solitary practitioner, you don't have the same fellowship that you would have if you were part of a coven or a circle. And that's real. Because that is one of the things that we as pagans and witches don't get as much of as those who practice the Abrahamic faith, is that fellowship, that ability to hang out with other people who have similar beliefs. We just don't have that opportunity. I mean, a Christian walks into a town and there are probably as many churches as there are bars, if not more churches, depending on what part of the world you're in. You can find someone who has a similar faith if you're a Christian. If you're a pagan and you walk into a town, you're like, so is it okay to let people know that I'm a pagan? Or am I going to get tarred and feathered and run out of the town on a rail? So it's hard. And a lot of the different pagan traditions do require a little bit of solitude or solitary practice. And it's, in part, it's to strengthen your faith, strengthen your faith in your path. It's, oh gosh darn, it's just hard. It really is. Because, if you don't know how to connect with people who have a same belief as you do, what do you do? I mean, how do you meet those people? How do you interact with those people? How do you discover those people? And nowadays, a lot of us just go to Facebook, Mewe, Amino, Reddit, Instagram, Pinterest. Oh my gosh, there are so many different social media platforms out there that have some aspect of paganism or some way to connect with other pagans and witches. I mean, they're out there. You just have to look for them. Like here, you know, you can check me out online. Absolutely. Or you can, I've got the Facebook, I've got the Patreon, I've got the Etsy, I've got, shoot, if you're local, we can just go get coffee. So, yeah, I mean, it's whatever works, but that's local. And I'm not afraid to drive. I've connected with like Woods Wizard a couple times. We've had coffee and tea and hung out a bit. And yeah, it's fun. It's good. But that fellowship is real. And it helps us, you know, feel a little more secure in our path if we don't have to be solitary. So even if you are a solitary practitioner, it's good to find another pagan friend in your area. They may not believe just like you do. You may follow Diana. They may follow Thor. I mean, that's okay. Just someone to talk to and hang out with that, you know, just is a little similar to you. That's all. You don't have to keep your guard up as much. You can just be a little bit more you. That's all. A lot of teens will rebel against their Christian families and start wearing the pentacle and say, "Hey, I'm a witch. I'm a pagan. It's a phase." And they grow out of it, and they move on to something else, and that happens, and that's okay. But some of those kids are like, you know what? This is real to me. And they come back to it. And they stay with it. Or sometimes you connect and you just keep going, and it feels right. It feels good. I've always been a little pagan, and the older I get, the more it's like, oh, that's why I felt that way. For me, being a pagan is more of an aha than oh, I'm a pagan now kind of transition. So, also, as a pagan or a witch, you don't need a lot of fancy tools. I mean, you walk into any esoteric store, and they're going to have wands and bowls and cauldrons and this herb and that herb and sage and incense and altar cloths, and I could keep saying and. And really, truly, you don't need all of that stuff. You just don't. I mean, honestly, what's a cauldron? Cauldron's a bowl. Candle's a candle. Matches are matches. Incense? Yeah, if you have it and you want it, use it. If you don't have it, don't. Honestly, you can find some things out in the world that work just as good. I have pine tree sap. I have cedar smudge sticks that I made here outside on the redneck deck, which is a whole different story, with Julia Blacktree. And those are just things that we had here. I had some hemp string that I got from the dollar store. So, you know, it's just, you know, what I had with me. An athame could be a knife that you already had, or a pocket knife that you found, or something like that. So it doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, stop and think about it. Pagans, witches from 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, didn't often have the ability to have a separate set of tools just for their spiritual path. A lot of them did, but a lot of them didn't. They used everyday things. Their athame was probably their belt knife, the one that they used to cut their meat with, or get their rabbit, you know, that kind of thing. So it's just use the tools you have. You don't have to have the fancy stuff. And don't invest in those expensive tools unless you really feel it's important to you. And if it's not important to you, don't feel pressured to buy those things. You can write your own spells and rituals. You can use somebody else's. I mean, if you go to Pinterest, wow, There are a lot of spells and rituals on Pinterest. Oh my gosh. YouTube. A lot of different ways to do spells and rituals. Yep. Bunches of them out there. But you know what? You don't have to use any of those. You can write your own. Often, the ones you write yourself have more meaning to you and have a greater value to you, and you have a stronger connection with. You just do. Let's see. Another thing that you should do is journal. Journal everything. Write it down. You have a dream? Write it down. Crazy spiritual experience? Write it down. Odd thing that just happened to you when you're driving to work or going out for a cup of coffee or something like that? Write it down. You read tarot cards? Write them down. Runes? Write them down. Anything like that. Write them down. Journal them. Because that's an important part of your journey. I mean, it's a huge important part of your journey. And if you don't write them down, you won't remember them, because we all forget things. We just do. We just do. How many times have I said, all right, we're going to break, we're going to come back to this thing, and then 3 minutes later we come back from break, and I'm like, shoot, what was I talking about? It happens. It's real. So just be aware, if you want to remember something, write it down. And know that, if you're writing it down, it'll help you remember it. And if you're having a hard time writing down your dreams, do it. Just whatever it is, write it down so you have it, so you can go back to it. Just do it. Not because I told you to, but because it'll help you on your list, on your journey, not list, sorry. Let's see. Pagans, I gotta tell you, we don't believe just one thing. We really don't. We believe a bunch of different things. And it's, I don't know, for me, it's a spiritual path. It's a way for me to grow within myself, within my relationships, with, the world around me. And we need to remember that we need to be kind to ourselves as we're on this journey, because it's not a race. No one's going to become a priestess or a priest at the same rate as their neighbor or their coworker or their friend. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. Everybody's going to learn a little bit differently. Everybody's going to have a slightly different path, and that's okay. And be easy on yourself for this journey, because that's what it is. It's a journey, guys. It's an think of it as an adventure. There's ups and downs and all arounds. I mean, if anybody's ever watched Lord of the Rings, that's an adventure. That's a grand adventure story, right? And think of all the stuff that they went through, for that whole series. If you haven't read The Hobbit, you should, or The Lord of the Rings. The whole series is good. And there's a lot of paganism in there. But that was a journey. There's ups and downs and all sorts of things, and they learned things about themselves, and they grew within themselves, and they became a bigger part of the world. They became bigger within themselves, and that's what we're doing here as pagans and witches. Is we're becoming more in tune with our world. We're becoming bigger. We're becoming more involved. We're becoming just more aware, and of ourselves and others, and that's okay. And so if you're having a down day, it's okay. If you forget to light a candle, it's okay. Um, don't beat yourself up about it. And just remember, it's a journey, it's an adventure, and you're learning things about yourself. The only expensive lesson is the one that you don't learn things from. So, take a deep cleansing breath, ground yourself, and you'll be fine. You will be fine, I promise. Books, there's all sorts of resources out there to read, to learn about, learn with. Some of them have tutorials and activities within them. Some don't. It's just a matter of going through and learning what they are. Cunningham is a good author. I would read pretty much anything by Cunningham. The Inner Temple of Witchcraft is that's a great starter book. It really is. I think Margot Adler, Drawing Down the Moon, that's another great book. Raymond Buckland, Complete Book of Witchcraft. Scott Cunningham. Let's see, Phyllis Curott, Witchcrafting. If you want to understand what your rights are, especially here in the U.S. when it comes to being pagan. Pagans and the Law, Understanding Your Rights by Dana Eilers. The Witch's Bible, The Complete Witch's Handbook by Janet and Stewart Farrarr. I'll try to put this list in the show notes. I'm just saying. Gerald Gardner, yeah, you can read that. That's a little heavy, a little thick. But you know what? Do it if you want to. Dorothy Morrison, The Craft, A Witch's Book of Shadows. Jeffrey Russell, A History of Witchcraft. Those are good books, too. And The Spiral Dance by Starhawk. Good book. So, just go through and read some of them. If they appeal to you, awesome. If they don't, that's okay, too. And, depending on what it is, some things are really going to call to you more than others. I mean, seriously. And others just won't be they just won't. You'll be reading and be like, this is just crap. Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. Bomber, I just sent you a message. So, anyways, yes. Research, follow your own path. And if you have a local pagan community, by all means, take advantage of it. Learn things. A lot of circles, covens, etc. will have some sort of public get-together periodically. Take advantage of a public get-together. You don't have to commit to joining the coven if you go to the public event. Just check it out. See if what they have to offer resounds with you. So Cashew, squirrel moment here. Cashew says, I used to wonder about karma, but now I have lived long enough to see or experience things coming back. So now I feel like the time and people involved change, but it is real. Oh, yeah. Whether it's karma, intention, threefold law, whatever you want to call it, I personally feel that what you put out there and what you're looking for is exactly what you're going to receive. Because if you're in a space mentally where you're putting out hate and anger, that's all you're going to see is hate and anger. That's all you're going to receive is hate and anger. But if you are looking for sunshine and rainbows, by golly, you're going to find a lot of sunshine and rainbows. So it has a lot to do with what it is you're looking for. I mean, you'll reap what you sow. I mean, that's just all there is to it. So, I'm not going to move on to the next thing until after the break because here it is, top of the hour already. Night is just flying by, which is great because it's been just pretty doggone warm here in North Idaho. And I'm drinking water instead of coffee. And by golly, maybe I should have been drinking coffee because woof. If you do have a local get-together that you guys have and you want me to mention it on the air, please let me know. Send me an email, wildpaisley@gmail.com. Just saying. And the call lines are open, so don't forget that. I'm going to try to connect with Bomber at the break, and we'll see what happens. And Aussie, you're funny. So yes, top of the hour. We'll be we'll be right back. Hey, Bomber. Hi, guys. This is
Paisley.
So, how you doing?
How are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm warm. I got home from work today and I turned the air conditioner on. And apparently nobody else in the house knew that we had an air conditioner. And and so suddenly it was everybody's
so you
like
pre-warmed it. You pre-cooled it for the next person.
Pretty much. So it's all good though. And yeah, it feels great. So, my dear, you wanted to talk about something you and your mom were talking about, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So my mom is she's German, and she's very German, like old German, but she's also this modernized Canadian, or trying to be a modernized Canadian. Okay, so it's an interesting mix that happens there.
I was going to say, it sounds complicated.
It's very complicated, and with the history of our ancestors and everything that goes along with that, it's all so complicated. I can't even really get into it all right now, I guess. I don't think we even have time, but something happened. So, okay, I don't even know where to start. Okay, when I was little, I had these memories. Memories that were mine. I knew they were my memories, and that they happened to me, but they didn't happen in this life. And, when you're little, you don't understand that. It doesn't, especially, I was a child of the 80s. It wasn't something that was talked about. and we grew up religious. So that wasn't talked about. But I had these memories, and I knew they were real. And so the memories, I was a little girl. I remembered wanting to play with my older brothers. We went down to a swimming hole or a well of sorts, and they didn't want me there, but I wanted to be with my older brothers, and so I was tagging along, and I remember I was wearing this long white dress. It would have been an underdress, an old fashioned looking, something that you would wear under a dress maybe 150 years. I don't know how long ago, but like this long old fashioned underdress. And I remember wanting to play with the boys, and they were roughhousing with me, and I drowned.
Oh, wow.
It was an accident. I know it wasn't on purpose, but I drowned. And I remember that so, like, I can't say so vividly because there's details that if it was so vivid I would be able to recall, but I have these memories, and they're real, and I told my sisters and my best friend about it, and they laughed and they made fun of me, and so I never spoke about it again because I thought, like, this is real and they're making fun of me. And a long while later, it was either Sally, Jesse, Raphael, or Oprah. One of them had this show come on, and they had kids on, and they were talking about memories of their past lives. These kids having memories of their past lives, and I was like, oh, "This is it, guys! This is, like, frig." And they never made fun of me again after that. That was, I'd never heard anything about that before that, so it was validated. Oh, sorry, that's my old man cat walking on me. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Sorry. Yeah, so that was really validating for me. But all these years I haven't really been able to talk about that because, being made fun of for something like that, it just wasn't something I really wanted to live with again or deal with again. So tonight I was on the phone with my mom, and we were talking about
hold on. Oh, gotcha. Hold on. Don't go anywhere, Bomber. I think I clicked something different. Oh, I did. Are you still there, Bomb? What did I do? Oh, there we go. Hi. Sorry. No, it was me. I touched something.
Oh. Did we cut out? So she said, wait, did you say well? I said, yeah, it was a well or something of that sort. And I just could almost visualize her face drop. And she was like, oh my God. She said, my father's sister. Maybe you're my father's sister. And I'm like, getting goosebumps again just talking about it. But she said her father's sister died when she was really young. And it would have been probably 100 years ago. And she had about 9 brothers, and she died in the well.
Oh, wow.
And there's suspect that the boys were maybe involved.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps again just talking about it, which validates for me that this is real because it's a strange kind of goosebumps that I get when my soul's going, hey, poke, poke, poke. Wake up. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I'm sorry, I missed
it was really emotional too when she was actually listening to me and telling me this. I felt this overwhelming rush of emotion come from deep inside me, just blood, and I just started crying, and I was trying to hide it because, my mom, she's like, but she didn't shut me down, and she let me kind of just be. So, pretty crazy, eh?
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. All right, hold on. Just hold that thought. I'm going to see if I can...
You're not going to be able to do it.
I should be able to do it.
You're not going to be able to do it.
Hold on. I want to try something.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll be right back.
Do it.
Oh, my
I'm going to
goodness.
do it.
Ah.
Hold on. Okay. Resume. Plus. I don't know why I didn't do it. Plus.
What are you doing?
What?
Zoom doesn't work. It's going to kick you off the
I'm
network.
not in Zoom.
Oh, I thought you said Zoom.
No, I'm not in Zoom.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, don't do that.
No, I'm not doing Zoom. Why is this not working?
You have to add her to the present
I
call.
did add her to the present call. I hit the
Hi,
plus
Bomber.
button. She's not there. She's on
Oh.
hold.
Fine.
Hold on. Hi, Bomber.
It's not working.
Hi. Oh.
No. So TFR heard you, but I don't know if the
YouTube heard. TFR did not.
Oh. Gotcha.
Well,
That's
that's
what I
okay,
did.
because that's my little family in there, so that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable.
Well, drat.
A little bit of stage fright.
So that's pretty wild, though. That's pretty awesome.
It's wild.
That is wild.
It's something that I normally, I have all these crazy things that happen in my life, and they've always happened in my life. I just seem to be one of these people that have all this crazy, wild stuff that happens, and I'm sitting back going, trying to remain this scientific mind, going, well, this doesn't really make sense. So, trying to rationalize things, and I just can't anymore. With all the experiences, I need to accept, and I need to start sharing them, because it's gotten to the point where you can't hold all that crap in, for this long and be okay, and I'm not. So, are people still listening? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, is this
people
still
are
being heard?
Oh, yeah. Of course they are there. You're doing fine.
Oh, of course. Okay. Well, here we are. So, yeah. So this happened tonight, and I just thought, you know what? This is it. I need to share this.
That's
I
awesome.
can't hold this in, and yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. That's very, very cool. Very cool.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you go so you can go panic on your own, because it's all about that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, water, yeah.
You did just fine.
You did fabulously.
Thanks, Dawn.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. All right. Thanks, Bomber.
Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, love you all.
Love you too. Bye.
That's the first time I've heard her voice.
All right. So I think I'm back on TFR now. Oh, gosh. Operator error. It's not a Friday night if there is an operator error. I just put TFR on hold.
Oh.
So, sorry, TFR. We were talking about...
How did you put... Yeah, never mind. I don't want to know.
Oh, yeah, it's just a thing. Yeah.
So anyhow...
It's not a Friday night if there's not some sort of operator error. I'm just telling you. Just saying.
So what is your topic?
We're just going back to the basics. Just kind of a general free flow chat and discussion of some of the basics regarding paganism and witchcraft. And Bomber was just talking about past life experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what... I was not able to listen to all of it, unfortunately, so I'll have to go back and listen. But I remember her saying that it was like a memory she had, but not of this life, which is always interesting, having those other life memories pop up. And she was talking about her grandma and the boys. And that's about all I really got out of it before technical issues arose. So, yeah.
It wasn't technical issues. It was operator error. I am not again. I will totally own it.
Oh boy.
I know that I'm the one that muffed that one up. So
yeah, that's one of the big issues Brent has, is that you can't Skype. Did you Skype her?
yeah, I Skyped her.
Yeah, you have to add her to the call. And what you could do is
So I did add her to the call actually,
well,
but it took her to an individual call instead of adding her to the call. So
that makes no sense. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Well, you called her, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy
well.
stuff.
Anyhow, back to basics.
Technology is so much fun. It just is. Um, so with contemporary paganism and witchcraft,
Your dog's a dork. Okay, sorry.
sorry, so Basil, um, it seems to have to sleep as close to me as possible, and he's over there because I stepped on him twice already, and he's laying on a board, but he bumped it or something. I don't know.
He like ran into it, scared himself.
Well, I moved the fan earlier because it's just bloody hot here, and he was jumping rope. He couldn't figure out which way to jump to get it over the cord. It was hilarious. He's a goofy dog. So, there's all sorts of reasons to become a pagan or a witch, and it's mostly because you feel called to the path. You have a stronger connection to being a pagan than you do anything else, or to being a witch, and that's good. That is a great thing. Well, there's some reasons to not join. I mean, honestly, if you want to be a witch just so you can cast spells on people, that's a bad reason to become a witch, because you're in it for the wrong reasons. That's just all there is to it. If you were raised a Christian and you hate going to church, that's not a good reason to become a pagan. Just don't go to church. You can say no. You want to conjure up spirits. You're an idiot. Don't do that. That's not what it's about. Don't do it. This is one actually I see often in different social media platforms.
You don't need a love spell.
Well, yeah, there's that. But no, it's I'm a something generation hereditary Wiccan.
Oh.
Or witch. Deep cleansing breath. Because once upon a time, Christianity was not real, and everybody was a pagan. And there were witches amongst the pagans. And you know what? They procreated and had children. And those children eventually became Christians. So technically, we're all descended from witches and pagans. Deep breath. And you can't be Gerald Gardner, the guy who kind of invented Wicca, he's around in the 1940s. You cannot be... You don't tell someone you're a sixth generation hereditary Wiccan, because that's just not a real thing.
Well, they could technically be a 5th generation.
Technically. But get over yourself, let it go. Channel your inner Elsa, let it go. Seriously, guys. If you have decided to be a pagan because you've heard that pagans are very open about sex, you're in it for the wrong reasons. It's not so much that pagans are open about sex. It's just we're accepting of other people, and other people have sex too, and it's okay. We're not going to judge you for it. If you want to have kinky sex, go. Have kinky sex. Go forth and do. But it doesn't mean you're a pagan. Christians have kinky sex too. Poor Don's so confused right now.
Well, I don't understand what any of this has to do with pagans.
Because some people decide they want to be a pagan or a witch because, you go skyclad and you dance around the fire and that's so sexy. And
I call that a Saturday night when I was in high school.
Right? Well, some pagan traditions do have ritual sex.
That's true. Yeah, well.
That is real, and there are fertility rites out there. That's real, but that doesn't mean that pagans are all about kinky sex. Most of them are pretty monogamous. And most of them are not polyamorous. But if you are, so what? If you want to join a religion that will allow you to do whatever you want, that's not paganism. That's not Wicca. That's not being a witch, because there are some rules and some guidelines. And if you want to do what you want, that's something else entirely. If you want to be a witch because you feel that people are mean to you, and if you're a witch, they'll be too scared to pick on you. No, they will still pick on you. I'm a witch. Julia's a witch. Black Tree. She picks on me all the time. My friend Colleen,
She's good.
whom I saw today and
that's
chatted for a
nice.
bit, she picks on me too.
Yeah,
Now
but
she does. Now
I'd pick on her too.
both Julia and Colleen pick on me from a loving place, so it's different. But you know what? People are jerks all the time. It doesn't matter what faith you are or what tradition you are. They're just assholes everywhere. Sorry. And they don't care who you are. They're going to harass you. On the flip side, all pagans are peaceful and loving, so I want to be one too. No, not all pagans are peaceful and loving. We'll throw down with the next person. So, if you...
What?
Peaceful and loving.
What did you just say?
I said, no, we'll throw down like just the next person too.
Okay.
Well, yes, Julia, you are a little short. But it's okay. We like you that way. It just means you got to your final edition faster than the rest of us. I'm stretching.
Yes.
So, some pagans are very, very peaceful and loving. Yes. Mostly we're just accepting of you, and we're not out to judge you or guilt trip you into something else. If you tell someone that you have psychic powers and that makes you a witch, you're wrong. Because if you're psychically gifted, that does not mean that you are a pagan or a witch. It just means you're psychically gifted. Because gifts like that come from all sorts of different places. That's just all there is to it. If you wonder if that is really real, watch Paranormal Portal. Just putting it out there.
Something's wrong with my microphone.
Nope, it's on. Or if you look in the mirror and you say, hey, I want to be just like the girls on Charmed.
Oh my God.
Or The Craft, or etc. Insert Hollywood drama,
Practical
comedy.
magic.
Okay, I actually like that one. That one's a little more real to me. But any of those. You know what? Those are all works of fiction. And Hermione, I'm sorry, you cannot straighten your hair with a spell. Hollywood is Hollywood. Reality is reality. They are not often very closely related. Even, I'm sorry to break this to you, those real TV shows that you watch, those are all scripted.
Zach Baggins.
So, yeah. Yeah, it's just not. Yeah. It's scripted, sorry. So yeah, just some reasons to not decide you're a witch or a pagan. Because you know what? It should come from within, this choice to be on this path. Cookie, that's not what it's about. I'm sorry. If you want that much fireball, go buy it and put it on your shelf. And you can do shots later. Although that may be a World of Warcraft thing. I don't know. So, but seriously, this is a path. It's a religion. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being. It's a way of looking at the world. It's a way of experiencing life. And often it's very intuitive. Often it is not scripted. Some of it can be, like if you're doing a ritual or casting a spell or something like that. But it's Don't choose to become a pagan or a witch because you're trying to solve the problems of the world, or you're trying to change someone else, or you are trying to force your thoughts and opinions on others. Because that's not what it's about. Honestly, truly. And sadly, pagans and witches can guilt you into things too. It happens all the time. Sadly. Actually, it just happens. So, and it's okay. You know, again, like I mentioned earlier, love yourself, be accepting of yourself, don't criticize yourself. And that guilt that people are trying to use on you, it won't have as much power. It won't drag you down anymore. Seriously. Shadow work is a real thing. It's a great tool to help you heal, and especially if it's used along with therapy. It's just a great way to let that stuff go. Julia says she was called to this. Yeah. I grew up this way. I didn't even realize I was pagan. I thought I was Christian. Really, truly. But looking back now, it's like, wow, I was really pagan. Even as a child. It just because I looked at the world in a different way. And once I realized that this is my path, and I accepted that this was my path, and I didn't try to fight it, holy buckets, did I feel lighter? Did I feel more accepting of myself, less judgmental of myself? My desire to fit into this mold that my family decided I needed to be in just wasn't there anymore. And as a result, my anxiety was less, my blood pressure was less for a while until I forgot to change my eating habits too. And the guilt. Wow. That guilt just really stopped weighing me down. It stopped dragging me around. It really truly is a millstone around your neck. And just let it go, guys. Seriously. Julia says drink your water. I'm trying really, really hard to make sure I get 2 full liters in today. It's hard.
Yes, yeah, it is.
But I know it's good for me. And it's hard. So, Mr. Don.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 3 minutes until break. So when we come back from break, I know you're not really Christian these days. And you probably haven't been for a while, right?
That's true.
You want to talk about why you're not anymore? I mean, you feel like you should be something else?
There's nothing else for me to be.
Well,
just me.
Just you.
In my heathen ways.
Your heathen ways. You heathenite.
Excuse me.
So often, we have this dream that gives us an aha, like, oh, not the V8, but oh yes, I should have realized that a long time ago. And sometimes we have to have a nudge that's so hard we trip and fall on our faces to catch, the point. It's part of the reason why journaling your experiences is real, because you're writing this thing down that happened to you, or you saw, or you dreamed about, or etc., etc. You're like, oh, I was just writing about this the other day. And you go back, she's like, oh, I read it there. Oh, and I wrote it there. And oh, I wrote it there. That's what that meant. Oh, I get it now. Because sometimes it takes a little bit. Cashew, are you sure you want to be Don? He's got this beard thing going on. I hear it smells like...
Oh, no, he says, I wanted to be Don, but that path was taken. Yeah, there can only be one. There can be only one.
Oh my gosh. Is this the quickening?
The quickening.
Someone bring coffee for the quickening.
No, that's just getting quicker. Oh, gosh.
Mini-Me woke me up by tickling my feet this morning.
That would be irritating.
She wanted breakfast, so she tickled my feet until I woke up. 30 years ago, I would have kicked her in her face.
Mm-hmm.
because I was not the friendliest of people first thing in the morning. So yeah, all right. The magic zoo boat story. Cookie says, I got booted from Sunday school when I told the nun that I didn't believe the magic zoo boat story. After break.
So much to say about that.
Right? It was an alien spaceship anyways, guys. Hello?
Duh.
All right, so guess what? It's our last break. I gotta tell you, this Friday night has just flown by. So, we'll be right back.
I, oh Lord, within the sun, as we will, so mote it be, the spell forever done. Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Mother's old, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and of Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild. I'm off adventuring into the spaces between, and I'm dragging Dawn kicking and screaming with me.
Usually.
Yeah. It's all good, though. It's an adventure.
That it is.
So, we're kind of going back to the basics with paganism and witchcraft and stuff. And because you know what? Sometimes we just got to talk about the basics. And I haven't really talked about the basics for a while. And I've kind of gone over most of them. Reasons to become a pagan, reasons not to, that kind of thing. And I say this often, and I don't really think I can say it often enough. It's okay to be in the broom closet. It's okay to be in the pagan pantry. You don't have to be out and about and tell the world that you're a pagan. Do you know why? Because it's personal to you. It is your
damn
relationship with your spirituality. And yeah, none of their business. And if you feel comfortable that way, okay. And you don't force it. Don't force yourself to come out of the pagan pantry if you don't want to. If you know someone who's a pagan and they're keeping it on the down low and they're not telling their family, do not out them. That's not cool.
No.
It's just wrong in so many ways because it's their relationship with themselves, and that's not anybody else's business. Unless, of course, they really, want to talk to a therapist about it, which is okay. If that's your gig, then do it. On that note, a lot of pagans and witches have altars. I generally do, but mine's in a drawer because I keep rearranging things and I haven't taken it out yet. Which is why my singing bowl is clear over there sitting next to a sewing machine. Next to a wand that I'm working on that I haven't decided what to do with next. So, stuff. I know. Don't look at my stuff in that tone of voice. So you don't have to have an altar. And you know what? An altar doesn't have to look like an altar. If you're into knot magic, technically you can do your intentions as you're tying knots. Think of it as a crochet or needlepoint. As you're doing needlepoint, set your intention and what it represents to you as you're doing this needlepoint project. That could be your visual touchstone as your altar. I mean, seriously, it could be something that simple. It could be a rock that represents your altar, or a plant. Have a plant. Put some little character type things in your pot, because a lot of people put like crystals and critters. Have like a fairy garden kind of a thing. That could be your altar. Figurines don't have to be statuettes of different deities. It could just be a figurine of something they represent. Canunos is often associated with oak trees. I have an acorn on my arm. Oh, you can't see it. There it is. I can't see it there. Because to me that has meaning. Hecate is often associated with ravens. That's why I have my raven. Odin is often associated with ravens. So maybe you have ravens or raven feathers. Feathers are a big deal. Flowers.
Oh, that's a great idea. We need to find out where those ravens are
Nesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did I show you that video of that big raven that was sitting on top of that tree?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I gotta show you that. He was just up there making noise. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this was a windy day too. He was up there. Cat said he was just riding the top of the tree having a good old time.
Yeah, he was like, whatever.
Honestly, if you guys collect anything, teacups, thimbles, spoons, salt shakers, NASCAR. I don't know. I'm grasping here. If it has meaning to you and you associate it in some fashion with your spiritual path, that could technically be part of your altar. An altar is a representation of your spiritual path and the way you are associating yourself with your spirituality. That's why no two altars are the same. They really truly aren't. I often will take a picture of my altar just before I take it down and do something different, because I don't really know that I want someone to see what my altar looks like right at the moment. I know some people do, but that's okay. Right now it's, like I said, in a drawer, kind of helter-skelter. But you know, whatever works for you guys. I mean, seriously. Something that other people assume you have to have is a ritual clothes or a robe or something. And I have one I've been working on. I have finally decided how I'm going to finish it, mentally. And so I'll probably get a wild hair on a day off and go through and finish up some other sewing projects that I have going on. Clear that stuff off my bench. And I'll probably finish it up. That way it's done, because now I finally have a visualization of what the completed project will look like. Sometimes it takes a little bit, and that's okay. I've been working on it for well over a year now. Again, it's okay. It's a lot of these projects that you have going on as you're creating your own tools, especially, you may feel compelled to do them now. And you actually get it done now, or you may feel compelled to start now, and it takes a little bit of time to finish up, because you get started and your vision for the final project changes a little bit. Just don't leave it indefinitely. Make sure you come back to it and finish it up and put it away. So, Book of Shadows, Grimoire, whatever you want to call it, those are tools that you can have, yes. Often, if you are following a specific tradition, there will be some guidelines and kind of some structure onto setting it up and creating your Book of Shadows. If you don't have a specific tradition, maybe not. Maybe you got just doggone lucky and inherited one from a family member who was previously in paganism or a witch. If that's the case, that's freaking awesome. And you're lucky. I was given this giant book that I keep forgetting to put back on the camera.
By Lucky.
By Miss Lucky, who's not on tonight. It was because she's been, I think there's a lot going on in her world this weekend.
Okay.
So, but it's not, I wouldn't keep your Book of Shadow necessarily under lock and key unless you are in the Pagan Pantry. But journals can be part of your Book of Shadows. You can doodle all sorts of stuff out into your journals and put the final copy in your Book of Shadows. Totally get it. But don't lose the journals, because the journals are a history of your growth along this spiritual path. Because you will grow.
It's the walk along the path.
Mm-hmm. It is. Absolutely it's the walk. Or stagger. Sometimes there's a stagger, so I mean, but it's, you just do what you got to do. Take your time. There are 8 basic Sabbats within witchcraft or Wiccan paganism. You don't have to observe all 8. You can observe all 8 and then some. Full moons, there's 13 of them in a year on average. Did you know Halloween is a full moon and a blue moon?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a good night to stay home, because it's also on a Saturday. Insanity will ensue.
Yeah.
Poof. So anyways, yeah.
Yep.
Do you have to observe all the full moons? Nope. Those are SBATs, by the way. Do you have to embrace being a pagan every day, all the time? No.
Well, I don't think it's embracing being a pagan every day. I think the answer is yes, but the point,
Mm.
the nice part about that is you don't have to tell people. You don't have to act pagan. You don't have to, you can be pagan in your everyday life, and nobody needs to know. So how does a pagan act, quote unquote? How does a pagan act anyhow?
They act like a person.
Ah, no. Say it ain't so.
Right? Because you know what? Pagans are people too. There's a bumper sticker for you. Pagans are people too. And you know what? We screw up just like everybody else. The thing is though, we don't feel as guilty about it generally, and we don't have to atone for it like so many other.
Because we admit there was maybe something that was wrong or we did incorrectly, and maybe, we'll just make sure we do it right next time and don't beat ourselves up over it. Now, depending on the, horrible consequences that may have occurred, there might be some beating up of yourself, but, it's dependent on what the situation is, I mean.
Yeah. So again, going back to your journaling, as you incorporate magic into your life, during the phases of the moon, if you feel things differently, write it down. And especially especially as a newbie on the path, you don't know everything, and that is okay. And you're going to talk to other people who don't know everything, and that's okay. And you know what? It is okay to admit that you don't know everything, because nobody likes to know it all anyways, but we're all learning, and it's okay. We're all at different phases or different places on our path.
Bomber, it doesn't matter if it was off topic. It was perfect for the show.
Yep.
It was awesome. Thank you. Such a sweetie.
Yep. Show respect for nature. Okay, that one you should do anyways. It doesn't matter if you're a pagan or not. Be respectful of the world around you. Stop littering. Okay. Time out. Squirrel moment. A lot of people are wearing masks right now and gloves and such. If you take them off,
put them
throw
in the garbage.
them away. This doesn't mean drop them on the ground. It doesn't mean throw them in the back of your truck and drive down the road and have it fly out of the back of your truck. I've seen this. Don't, fling them at a garbage can in disgust and miss the garbage can and leave it. Because you know what? Those are your cooties. Those are your germs. Take care of it. Throw it away. There's proper receptacles all over the place for garbage. Throw them away. Deep breath there. So, get in touch with the land. Plant a garden. Grow some plants. Grow some herbs. You know what? Just be respectful. Get in touch with the ground. Go barefoot outside once in a while. In the dirt. It's okay. Be empowered. Honestly. Know that you don't have control over everything, but the things you do have control over, you know what? You have control over it. You're not a tree. If you don't like where you're at, you can move. If you don't like your job, you can get a different job. If you don't like your family, you're stuck. But,
Are you?
Technically, no, you can leave your family. Your family might not understand. Don't kill your family, just leave them. But, whatever you choose to do, own it. You are the one responsible for making the decisions that you're making. No one's forcing you to. No one is saying, oh, you have to be a pagan this way, or oh, you have to practice witchcraft this way, or oh, it's okay to say that you did this because your parents made you do it. No, by golly, own it. And man up, grow a pair. of whatever it is you need to grow a pair of. It's okay. Just own it. Own your successes, own your mistakes. And if you're miserable, fix what makes you miserable. Don't wallow in it. And, honor the deities and the spirits that you work with. Whether you're honoring your ancestors, your spirit guides, deities, or whatever it is, it's okay to say thank you. It's okay to meditate. It's okay to do whatever it is that you do to honor the entities that you work with. And you know what? Behave in a way that is honorable. If you make a promise, keep it. And if someone needs help and you can give the help, do it. If you can't offer help, don't make excuses. Just say, hey, I'm not in a place where I can help you right now. And that's okay too. You don't have to help everybody, because you know what? Not everybody wants the help that you can offer. They can say that they want help, but they often need the help in the way that they need it, not in the way that you can provide it, because those are often two different things. So be aware that just because you're offering to help, they can say no, and that's okay too, because they may not need the help that you can offer. Just like if you need a couch moved and someone comes over and says, hey, I brought you pizza, doesn't really help you with getting the couch moved generally.
No, because usually I'd end up sitting on the couch eating pizza.
Yeah, there's that. So, so just, sure, free pizza is awesome, but if I need a couch moved, I need a couch moved. So, when you're doing your everyday things, find out a way to put your spiritual practice into place. As you're making coffee, set your intention. You're making a sandwich, draw runes into whatever it is you're making your sandwich with. Mustard. I don't know.
Blue cheese dressing.
There you go.
With pickles.
Okay. If that's what floats your boat, Don, knock yourself out, man. That sounds horrible, by the way.
That's what I was eating when I got home.
Okay, then. If you eat pancakes or French toast or waffles, draw runes in syrup. Peanut butter sandwich, same thing. Whatever the intention is, put your intention into everything that you do. And you know what? The more you do that, it's like, I intend to have a great day today. You know what? You're probably going to have a great day. Be like, I woke up, this is just going to be a crap day. Guess what? It's going to be a crap day. What you put out there is what you're going to get. Seriously. So if you tell everybody around you that you live with assholes, guess what? That's what they're going to believe, and so they're going to treat everybody around you like assholes, and so that's what you're all going to see. So, I dropped that word a lot tonight. Let's see. And consider the impact that you have on the world around you. What are you putting into it? Are you building the world up? Are you building the people around you up? Or are you tearing them down with your actions and your behaviors and what you're saying? Because that really does impact the path that you're on and your spirituality. You say that you follow, and I can't think of the right deity right now, but if you're a love and light Wiccan, it's like, oh, everything's love and light. I don't curse, I don't do anything like that. But you're like, oh, did you see what Karen did today? Oh my gosh, she wore this with that and it just didn't work, and oh, she just looks fat. That's not building anybody up. That's not love and light. So, be aware of what you're saying. Is it really representative of who you want to be spiritually? Or and if it's not, change it. The only person who can change anything about you is you. Just like if you're with someone and you want to fix them, guess what? They're never going to be fixed Because what if they're okay being just like they are, and they don't see anything wrong with themselves, and so you trying to fix them all the time really makes things worse. I mean, if they don't want to be fixed, they're not going to be fixed. That's just all there is to it. So, not just, the world around you, but the people around you, be aware of what you're doing. Throw your garbage away. Seriously. And journal things. Just write it down. Yes, D. No fixer-uppers when it comes to people. Be careful when you buy a fixer-upper house. It may be a money pit or car or anything like that. But yeah, fixer-upper people, they're going to suck a lot of life out of you. And if they don't want to be fixed, you're going to put a lot of energy into something that's you're never going to get anything out of, except for more pain, heartache, and hurt. And by golly, that doesn't help anybody. That just makes you a bitter, angry person. So stop. But yeah, just pay attention to the world around you. What is it that you can offer to the world? Even if it's just leaving extra pennies in the penny jar when you go to the store. If that's all you can do, okay, cool. If you can smile at someone, you know what? That may be the only smile that they've had today. That's okay too. So, and you know what? If you don't have anything to offer to anybody today, by golly, that's okay. You don't have to offer something to everybody every day. So, somebody asked, what are we talking about again? So yeah, Paganism 101. Back to the basics. Be the best you that you can be. Stop trying to be somebody else. Everybody else is already taken. Be you. And, do your research. What is it that you like most about being a pagan? Is it that freedom to just be you? Is it learning how to be more spiritual and less religious? What is it? Write those things down. What are your goals? What is it that you want to achieve as being a pagan? Write them down. Some people go through every year and they do a goal poster or a goal poster. Basically, what do they want to accomplish in the coming year? And they don scoffs. But you know what?
No, I was thinking of the typical New Year's resolution kind of stuff.
Oh, I was just thinking once a year, not necessarily on New Year's. But yeah, basically your New Year's resolutions, if you will. But write them down. What is it you want to accomplish on your spiritual path? And you know what? Some of them you might be able to accomplish in the next couple weeks. Some of them might take you years. Inner peace does not generally happen in a day.
Inner peace. Inner peace. Inner peace.
Exactly.
It's kind of like serenity now.
Exactly. So, and just remember, the only change, or the only consistency, the only thing that stays constant is change. Everything's changing all the time. But everything changes at its own rate. If you've ever mowed a yard, and 2 days later you look at your yard, you're like, but I just mowed that part. Why does that part still look good? It's because grass grows at different rates. People change at different rates. Life changes at different rates. And Chuck Norris is already taken. But he's an odd duck. I don't know. I managed to forget to ask you the question I was going to ask you.
What was the question you were going to ask me?
What made you decide to be a heathen? You have a minute?
Because I wised up. Realized that this square peg didn't fit in that round hole. Or maybe it's the other way around. The round peg didn't fit in the square hole. Who knows? Whichever way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, and I found a bunch of their teachings to be BS. I just can never reconcile any of it. Your lights are out, by the way.
My lights are out?
Yeah, your lights are out.
Oh, they're not even plugged in.
Oh. So anyhow, but
So-
that's the gist of it right there. And I got tired of my mother dragging me through 15,000 different religions.
And all of them fit like a shoe that was too small. All right. So, on that note, we're just about done. Who's up next? Friday night. Is it Duke?
Yeah, I think so.
Duke is up. So stay tuned for Duke on TFR. Otherwise, join me here tomorrow night. This is Paisley Wild. This is the spaces between. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again.
Bye.
As we will, so mote it be, the spell forever done.
Mother